I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, the head coach for JobSearchCoachingHQ.com. And the question I received was, do I really have to give 2 weeks notice? Here's the facts. When you joined your current firm, you signed a whole bunch of papers. And those papers obligated you to do a bunch of things. One of them, and I have to say, may have been what requirements you had when you give notice. Now, this becomes complicated, but I'll simply say that on the one hand, you don't want to put yourself in the position where your current manager is treating you like toenail fungus. Someone who's a pariah, who they treat badly, yada, yada, yada. I remember one person who I represented when I was still doing recruiting. He'd been with his firm for 35 years, and he was quitting for a new job. And they put him in a room by himself with a desk, no phone, for 2 weeks. And they tortured him there after 35 years. That's what this firm did. And sometimes managers get abusive because they're like jilted wives, husbands, partners who suddenly feel like they've been betrayed. They have an emotional response. So you start off with number one is you may have signed something that obligates you to do certain things in terms of giving 2 weeks notice, 3 weeks notice, 4 weeks notice, 5, or a non-compete. Non-competes in certain places are very tough to break. So you can pretend like there's no problem if you have a non-compete, but I can tell you from personal experience that there are people who sign non-competes who the firm is able to enforce them with. So you have to look at the terms that you sign. Now, this basically says you have those papers. If you don't, you need to get those papers from corporate HR so you understand what you've committed to. Now, some people have nothing and they've signed nothing. That's hard to imagine, but I sometimes see it with smaller firms, in which case there's no obligation to give 2 weeks notice. However, think about your referencing for a second. Do you want to risk a potential reference that you may not think you're going to need in the future, but trust me, you're going to need in the future because no one stays at their job for 20, 25, 30 years like that guy did. Firms hire and fire. You walk out and leave for other organizations. You're going to need references, and you don't want to put this one at risk. So those are your choices. I'm not going to tell you what to do. You have to be adult about this and make your own decision. By the way, if your manager starts to treat you badly, you can politely walk over to he or she and say, and do it in their office so it's not a public display. Take a deep breath before you walk in and say, I've just sensed some animosity toward me since I gave my notice. If you don't want me around, I can leave. I've given my notice. And if you don't want me here, pay me for the 2 weeks. I'm done. It's okay. But do you really have to treat me in this way? And be prepared for there to be an open dialogue because they may not even be aware that they're treating you badly. So just recognize that that's a possibility too. So I'm Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter. I coach people in organizations. If you'd like my help with your job search, visit my website, thebiggamehunter.us. There are tabs on the top that will give you information about how to contact me for coaching. In addition, if we're not connected on LinkedIn, send a connection request to me at linkedin.com/IN/the Big Game Hunter. Have a great day. Take care.